Did you know Tanjiro was supposed to kill Nezuko in an early draft of Demon Slayer? Or who taught Inosuke how to speak human language if he lived in the mountains? I'm Mr. Phoenix, and these are 15 facts about the Kamaboko Squad members that I bet you didn't know. And make sure to watch till the end, because the last 3 will blow your mind. Starting off with our boy Tanjiro. We all know that Tanjiro is very bad at telling lies and has a terrible poker face. But did you know that he is terrible at telling jokes as well? That's right, whenever he tries, he fails so hard that people feel guilty for not laughing. Speaking of not laughing, we all know that Kanao is not able to express her emotions due to being abused as a child and being sold off in the slave market. And this went to such an extent that she was not able to express any type of emotion until she met Tanjiro. And after that, the first time she cried was after the death of Shinobu by the hands of Doma in the Infinity Castle. Also, she was able to express her emotions properly later when the battle against Muzan was finished and she married Tanjiro. Next up is a question that all the Demon Slayer fans have wondered at least once. And it is related to how Zenitsu is able to move while being asleep. Not only move, but he is also able to fight much better when he is asleep as compared to being awake. So why is that? Well, we all know that Zenitsu has extreme fear and anxiety when awake, which prevents him from thinking clearly or using his full potential in battle. But when he faints or falls asleep, his mind essentially shuts off, removing the fear that holds him back. And due to undergoing extreme training under his previous master Jigoro, he has learned the first form of thunder breathing to such an extent that it has been deeply ingrained in his muscle memory, hence making his body move on his own during fights. Then we have a really special and wholesome fact about our boy Inosuke. We all know that Inosuke never calls Tanjiro by his actual name, making it seem as if he forgot Tanjiro's name. But what if I tell you that is not the real case? You see, Inosuke actually just pretends to not know Tanjiro's name and calls him by weird names like Gonpachiro, Kentaro, Monjiro on purpose. This is simply Inosuke's way of expressing love for Tanjiro, and that is why he never calls him by his actual name. But there is just one time in the entire Demon Slayer story that Inosuke has called Tanjiro by his real name. That's right. You see, the only time Inosuke did that was in chapter 201 of the Demon Slayer manga. This was when Kibutsuji Muzan was already defeated and Tanjiro had been converted into the next Demon King. During that time, all the remaining Slayers were fighting Tanjiro to prevent him from killing any people. At that time, Inosuke had a chance to behead Tanjiro and save others, but he just couldn't do it at that time and instead started crying while saying, "I can't do it, Tanjiro," hence making this moment the only time he ever said Tanjiro's actual name. Speaking of Demon King Tanjiro, did you ever wonder how he and Nezuko were able to survive under the sun despite being demons? Well, there is a very secret reason behind this. We all know that the Demon King Muzan was constantly in search of a flower called the blue spider lily. This is because that flower had the properties which would have helped Muzan in conquering the sun and making him truly immortal. But did you know that both Nezuko and Tanjiro are connected to this flower as well? That's right. You see, when Nezuko and Tanjiro were children, their mother fed them the soup of the blue spider lily because she knew the location where the blue spider lily bloomed. This is the exact reason why both Nezuko and Tanjiro were able to conquer the sun despite being demons. Next up is a fact about Genya Shinazugawa. We all know that Genya was always hated by his elder brother Sanemi for joining the Demon Slayer Corps, but this hatred was just from the outside. Deep down, he really loved his younger brother and cared about him more than anyone else. This was even proved to us in their fight against Kokushibo. When Genya was sliced in half by Kokushibo's final move, he started disintegrating, just like any other demon. During that moment, Sanemi came beside him and started crying and begging God to not take away his brother from him. He was even apologizing Genya for treating him so badly and stated how much he loved him. But the sad part is that Genya's ears were already disintegrated by that time, so he couldn't hear Sanemi at all, and instead thought that his elder brother was shouting at him yet again. Here is another fact from the Demon Slayer manga. We all know that after the death of Shinobu's elder sister Kanai by the hands of Doma, Shinobu and Kanao started wearing her haori and hairpin respectively to honor her death. But during the battle of the Infinity Castle, Shinobu was killed by the hands of Doma, and after Doma was killed by the combined efforts of Kanao and Inosuke, Kanao actually started wearing Shinobu's hairpin instead of Kanai's. This can be noticed later on in her fight against Muzan in the Sunrise Countdown arc, where if you notice closely, you'd find that her hairpin is now purple in color, which is the same one Shinobu used to wear. Now, do you know why Tanjiro has such a hard head? I mean, he was literally able to knock out the second strongest Hashira simply by headbutting him. So what's the actual reason? You see, Tanjiro inherited his hard forehead from his mother. This was even told to us in the Demon Slayer databook, in which when Tanjiro was small, his mother defeated a wild boar by simply headbutting it. Speaking of Tanjiro, did you know that he has the ability to even speak to animals? That's right. You see, Tanjiro's sense of smell is so good that he is able to not only understand humans, but also animals' emotions just by their smell. He can literally tell what an animal or a human is thinking just by being around them. This is also why he is able to communicate with Lady Tamayo's cat Chachamaru so easily. Now, do you know why only Zenitsu has a sparrow, while all the other slayers have Kasugai crows as their guide? Well, you see, there is a very secret reason behind it. We all know that Kasugai crows carry and share information and are given to every demon slayer after they pass their final selection exam. But just like the Kasugai crow, there once used to be a clan of sparrows who used to do the same things, but they were all attacked by demons and wiped out, except Zenitsu's sparrow Chutaro. The reason Chutaro survived was because he was a coward and ran away. But after realizing his mistake, Chutaro requested to work for the demon slayers once again and was assigned to Zenitsu as his companion. Next up is a fact about Genya. We all know that Genya finds it very difficult to talk properly with his brother since he is scared of him. But another thing Genya is scared of is talking to women. That's right. Whenever a woman tries to speak to Genya or gets close to him, he blushes and becomes red like a tomato. You can notice this when Mitsuri was hugging Genya at the end of the Swordsmith Village fight. Genya was totally blushing during this scene. Now for the final 3 facts you all have been waiting for. At number 3, there is a fact about Kanao. See, we all know the reason why Mitsuri's outfit is so revealing. It is because the tailor who designed it for her was a big pervert. But did you know that Kanao has the same tailor as her? That's right. This is proved to us in a very subtle way throughout the story. If you look carefully, you'd notice that Kanao's skirt gets smaller and smaller as the story progresses. But this was not the only time the perverted tailor tried doing something like this. Previously, he even gave Shinobu and Kanao the same open-chested uniforms as Mitsuri's. But Shinobu got so angry regarding this that she burned it in front of him. And here is the final fact you all have been waiting for. Did you know there's an alternate timeline where Tanjiro becomes a Hashira and Nezuko never turns back into a human? That's right. In an early draft of Demon Slayer, Tamayo's medicine doesn't work on Nezuko and she remains a demon forever. After a 3-year time skip, Tanjiro fully masters water breathing and replaces Giyu as the new water Hashira. But the story takes a heartbreaking turn, and it ends with Tanjiro walking Nezuko to a quiet mountaintop at sunrise and beheading her to finally free her soul. But this part never made it into the final story because the writer felt it was too heartbreaking and would emotionally burden the fans, so he switched to a more positive ending. That was it for this video. Make sure to subscribe for more such content in the future and watch this other video which the algorithm thinks will be the best for you. See you in the next one.